the Makante Project. It sounds cool, but what the heck is it? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to explain everything, and then draw a couple new Fakemon that live here at the end. The Makante Project is my personal take on a complete fan-made Pokemon region, complete with a map, story, new characters, and of course, new Pokemon. Over the course of however long this project takes, I'll be revealing new Pokemon and other details whenever they feel appropriate. But for now, I guess I should start with the title. The Makante Project, Song of Creation. Makante is the name of the new region where everything regarding this project will take place. Here's a map drawn in the Sword and Shield style that you can look over while I explain its inspirations. As I talked about in my last video, I traveled to many diverse places in the United States in 2023 and live in Nebraska. The Makante region incorporates themes and geology from places like Nebraska, as well as South Dakota, Minnesota, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona to form an interesting array of biomes to explore, while still being able to fit on a real-world map like the official Pokemon regions. Official Pokemon regions also have very unique and purposeful names to them, and so does Makante. I'm gonna butcher these pronunciations, so just bear with me. The word Maka is the native Lakota word for earth, while the word Kante is the Lakota word for heart. Combined, you get Heart of the Earth, which really encapsulates the themes of the region. It also has the word Makol in there, which is Lakota for prairie, which is basically what Nebraska is. And finally, Cantaray is in there too, which is the Latin word for sing. Music is going to be a pretty big part of the story, so it's a little hint towards that, though I won't get into that in this video. Back to the themes of the region though, most of my trips in 2023 were to go experience some of the national parks that the US has to offer, and I gained a huge appreciation for the preservation of the planet and for life itself. Makante is hugely Midwest inspired, with some of the surrounding states as well being incorporated, and a huge part of that is Native American culture. I don't know a whole lot about them, so this isn't necessarily a complete Native American region, but I will be researching them for this project, and the way that they connected with nature is really awesome to me, and so I wanted to incorporate those themes into the region, which is the reason why I use Lakota words to form the region's name. The eastern side of the map is more industrialized, with 2 big cities and lots of farmland as well, while the western side is more wild, with diverse biomes and only small villages rather than cities. In essence, there are those who honor tradition and a simple life on the west side, and those who strive for innovation and prefer an urban lifestyle on the east side. They don't always see eye to eye, but they manage to coexist. I'm not going to deep dive into the entire map in this video, but some places of note are Humbud Town, where you'll start your adventure, Jinglo City, the first big city akin to something like Jubilife City in Sinnoh, Pianio City, the technologically advanced hub of Makante, where the Pokemon League is held, the huge Rockapelli mountain range, and finally Ogila Lake, which was formed recently due to a flood of the Ogila Plains, which used to span the middle of the map rather than this lake. The name origins of these places, as well as the rest of the areas, will be revealed in a future video, but for now, let's dive into the actual Pokemon of this region. Before we get into any new ones, let's talk about where the Pokemon from the last video would be on the map. The first new Pokemon I introduced was Popkern, the new evolution to Sunkern. Sunkern will be able to be found in the Harvio Cornfields and Route 2, which you'll then be able to evolve using a Firestone. The next Pokemon, Helmole, will be found pretty much in every cave in the game, being more or less rare depending on which cave it is. Starmadillo, Helmole's evolution, will be able to be found only in the deepest caves in the region. And moving on to the final 2 Pokemon of the last video, Elapo will be able to be found in just about every lake in the game, with Ampike, its evolution, being a relatively rare encounter in those lakes. Ampike is only a middle evolution though. If you know anything about fishing, especially in America, there is a fish known as the fish of 10,000 casts, the Muskellunge. This monster is the biggest member of the pike family of fish and earned its nickname, being one of the rarest fish to catch. So, as I'm sure you've been able to guess by now, Ampike will evolve into a Pokemon based on the Muskellunge. Level up your Ampike to level 42 and prepare to meet Muskeleth, the Thunderjaw Pokemon, a water and electric type. Muskeleth has the static and swift swim abilities with Strong Jaw for a hidden ability. Its stats put it on par with Pokemon like Haxorus, so it's definitely something to beware. The name Muscalith comes from Muskalunge, as well as Ele from Electric, and Behemoth. If you want to catch one in the wild instead of evolving in Ampike, there's also a ridiculous 1 in 10,000 chance to reel one up, just as a fun Easter egg to the fish of 10,000 casts name that it has. Muscalith swim alone and never stay in one place. They're the absolute apex predator of fresh water in this part of the world. If hungry, they won't hesitate to eat an Elepo. If you see what looks like a lightning strike underwater, you just witnessed a Muscalith catching its prey. Once something is caught by the thunder jaw of Muscalith, there is no escape. The shiny form takes on a darker, murky lake color scheme. I love Muscalith. It might be one of my favorite Fakemon I've ever created, and would definitely be on my Makante team. I hope you like it as much as I do. I mentioned that the Makante Project features music as a prominent part of its story, so of course I wanted to add in as many music-based Pokemon as possible. One such example of this is Toxtricity, but unlike Galar, punk rock isn't really the vibe I'm going for, so how about a happier version of Toxtricity? Toxtricity is based on punk rock, and specifically basing both its amped and low-key forms off of electric and bass guitars respectively. So how about an acoustic guitar version? Well, prepare to meet Elacoustic, the new evolution of Makante Toxel, who you'll meet right after this guy. Elacoustic is an electric and grass type and is known as the Folk Pokemon. Its new signature ability is Folk Tune, and essentially does the same thing as punk rock, which halves damage from sound-based moves and boosts sound-based moves from the user by 30%. It also has Chlorophyll and Technician as its hidden ability. Elacoustic is much faster than Toxtricity, but less physically offensive, since it's not as tough. It was decided by Pokemon professors that Elacoustic was a new Pokemon species once they started to notice the leakage of chloroplast into the electricity on its chest, which gives it the green hue that it has. You can often find wild Elacoustic singing and playing their music to other Pokemon, around campfires that they can create with their electricity. They're able to feed off of the positive electric energy that people in Pokemon give off when they're enjoying an Elacoustic's music, which will make its attacks more potent. Elacoustic's design consists of a lot rounder shapes than Toxtricity's sharp shapes. The pattern on its belly and its 6 sound sacs on its chest are meant to represent the strings and sound hole of an acoustic guitar. The protrusions on its head are also meant to represent the 6 tuners on the head of a guitar. Finally, the electricity now comes from Elacoustic's chest because its music comes from the heart, and this Pokemon is all about peace and love. The shiny form alludes to the fact that Toxtricity has a blue electricity form and becomes different shades of blue. Before I get to the final Fakemon of the video, I wanted to say thank you if you're still watching. If you like what you see, please leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss the next video from me. And if you really like what you see, I've got access to YouTube memberships now. You can join the Ace tier for only $1 a month for a shout out at the end of every video. The Elite tier for $3 a month for access to videos and new Fakemon before they release, or Champion tier at $5 a month to help me create new Fakemon by voting on names, shinies, and more. Now, back to the video. The final Fakemon I have for you today is Mcant Toxel. It's a grass and electric type and evolves into Elacoustic at level 30. It follows many of the design traits of Galarian Toxel, though obviously is green due to being a grass type, and has a much happier disposition, with its happy eyes and tongue out. Its 6 head protrusions, which become Elacoustic's 6 tuning pegs, are shaped more to look like the rays of the sun when combined with Toxel's round head, showing off that this Pokemon is bright and happy. The shiny once again references that Toxtricity had 2 different forms, and gains a blue color scheme. Makante Toxel would be a rare encounter in the Windmill Meadow north of Jinglo City. If you just wanted to wait and catch an Elacoustic though, you can find one up in Windwood Forest. I hope you like these new additions to the Makante Pokédex. Let me know which was your favorite in a comment below. I try to reply to as many as I can. If you're on the fence about subscribing, do me a favor and check out the video on the left side of the screen to see what YouTube thinks is another video of mine you would enjoy. And subscribe if you like that one. I mean, if you like 2 of them, you'll probably like the rest. With that said though, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see ya in the next one. Mwah. Bye bye.